20th Street Studios, Dominique Murray Photography, and she's graciously let us shoot in her studio this morning. And as always, I'm joined here by my lovely and talented co-host, Miss Kelly Frost. Good to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Thank
and
you.
we have a great guest today. I'm really excited.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. Miss Ray Nell Jones.
Hi.
Lewis Jones.
Yes.
Welcome.
Nice to meet
Thank you
you.
so much
Excited
for
to be
joining us.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. You look fantastic. You're like all bright and sunny today.
Thank you. I had to wear some bright colors before the summer ended.
That's I get pink here. And, yeah,
We're all very bright.
We're all very
Yeah.
bright. It was a
Yeah.
good morning. It's nice. It's beautiful. No rain.
It is beautiful, and some nice light coming in here in this great studio. This is thank you so much to Dom for letting us. And if you guys aren't familiar with Dominique Murray, any kind of photography you might need, she is spectacular.
Yes.
So look her up and give her a call. She's down here on the South Side, 20th Street Studios. So Ray Nell, thank you so much for joining us. I'm very just fascinated by what you do, and I want to get into the nonprofit and everything, but I want to get a little bit of the backstory because you have a great story. You're Pittsburgh native, right? Born and raised here.
Absolutely. Pittsburgh native. I'm born and raised in Homewood, Brushton.
Okay.
I've lived here all my life. Never migrated anywhere, even though I would love to. But this is my hometown. I love it here. The weather's okay. Of course, we get the after effects, everything. But yep, I'm from Homewood, Brushton, and I graduated from Westinghouse High School. So
Cool.
I am a Bulldog.
Cool.
Yes, I am. And I'm just
A lot of history there.
Yeah, a lot of history at
Lot of
Westinghouse. My whole
history there.
family actually are alumni.
Is that right?
My whole family, entire family.
So okay.
Yeah.
So Westinghouse, and you went off to college.
Yes, I went off to college.
Was it Carlo?
No.
Where'd you go?
I went to college. I started at the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And then I migrated over to Point Park University because
Okay.
I got pregnant. And when I got pregnant with my daughter, I was like, okay, I don't want to have my child, living in no one's home.
Mhm.
Of course, like being raised in Homewood, Brushton, as you know, like that's not the richest neighborhood in Pittsburgh. I was born into poverty, and a lot of people don't look at poverty. They think of, when you say poverty, they think of third world countries
Mhm.
and
Sure.
walking with no shoes. But no, poverty
Sure.
is the economic effect around the area that you're in. And unfortunately, we always fell below that, middle to income margin. So when I think of poverty, that's what I think of.
Okay.
Being raised in poverty, my mom was a single mom. My father was a victim of systematic, injustice.
Sure.
And he, had a mental decline and started doing drugs. So my mom was a single mom who was
Okay.
raising me and my sibling. I have an older brother as well. She was raising myself and my sibling. And, I didn't want to be a burden to anybody else. So, when you're pregnant and you're a first-time mom and you think you have it all.
And you're a child yourself.
I'm a child myself.
Right.
I think I have it all. I think I know it all. And I don't. And then that's when life starts hitting you because I wasn't educated on finances. Like, nobody sat me down and
Sure.
was like, this is what a credit card is. This is how you manage bills. This is how you manage food. And this is how you do this. I
Yeah.
had no idea what I was doing. Imagine being a freshman in college. First of all, you got to pay for books. First of all,
Right.
everything's not really covered through financial aid. And I had to pay bills because I had my own house, and
Sure.
I had a baby coming. So it was just so much for me. It was very overwhelming.
That's a lot.
And when I had her, I didn't really get that time with her. A lot of people don't talk about when you're going to school and you're working, being a mom, you miss a lot of time with your children. Like, I would literally get up at like 5 a.m. I would have to be at the bus stop at 6, have her to her sitter by 7, which was my cousin. Oh my gosh, without my cousins, I don't know what I would do. They was like babysitting galore for me.
It's wonderful.
Family's
My
a blessing
cousin.
sometimes.
Family is a blessing.
Yes, family is a blessing. I would drop her off to my cousin, be back on the bus, and in my first class by 8 o'clock. So when I was done with my first class, between time, I had to do some homework because I wasn't going to have time, and I had to be to work from about 3 o'clock. I was doing housekeeping. And I did housekeeping my whole pregnancy as well. So I worked at UPMC Montefiore. I did housekeeping. Yes, I did housekeeping from 3 to 11. When I got done at 11, she was picked up at 12. I will be home at least by 1 o'clock, and I'll do it all over. So for a full day, I really wasn't spending time with my child, unless it was off
Right.
days on a weekend.
And you were only sleeping 4 hours a day.
Only sleeping 4
If
hours
that.
a day and studying. It was just a mess, and
I have to tell you, that is impressive. There aren't a lot of people that have the intestinal fortitude to pull something like that off. I mean, you had to want to quit a million times.
Oh, a million times. I wanted to quit a million times. I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I wasn't being a good enough mom. I had a moment this one time where my lights was cut off. And I was getting paid that Friday. So I said, please. And my shut off was for Tuesday, I remember. And I would leave a light on just to make sure they didn't cut it off. So Wednesday I was fine. Thursday I was fine. That Friday when I got paid and my lights were off and I had a midterm on Monday, I was just so defeated, trying to feed her in the middle of the night and holding my little flip phone, trying to read my notes. I had those thoughts like, she's better off without me. This is just not for me. And then I just said, I need to do something different so I can manage my finances because I'm not making ends meet, at all. And that's when I started couponing. That's where my couponing habit started because I said there has to be some type of way I can save money. Yes. So, I did have those thoughts. And as a mom, you go through that. But it builds your endurance. Education and nourishment, self-nourishment is the best way to build your mindset. And that's how my mind got so strong. So when you said, I don't know how you did that, I don't either. I just was moving.
You just kept going. Sometimes you just got to lean into the wind.
Did you ever feel like you weren't the only one, or did you feel like you were the only one going through that?
No, I knew I wasn't the only one. There's no way I was the only one. I knew that I wasn't the only one when I seen other moms at the bus stop with me. When I seen other moms, when they would have their kids with them and they just looked drained. They didn't want to be bothered with them. They didn't want to have nothing to do with them. I knew right then and there I was not the only one going through it. And I said, this is something that is critical to low-income communities. No one's talking about the mental health issue because you are not financially educated. You don't have the resources. And then there was no resources to give you some financial alleviation. You had to figure it out.
Right.
And that's where it comes with working 2 jobs, trying to go to college to make it, then not knowing, oh my gosh, after college, I got to pay all of this back. Right. All of that is hard to deal with,
Absolutely.
And sometimes the majoring, that you choose, you don't even make what you expect to make. So it's now what? I did all of this for nothing. So you do have those thoughts of being a single mom trying to give up.
That is such a powerful story. And so you're going through all this, and there was a traumatic experience that I saw you had related that you witnessed on the Homestead Grace Bridge that kind of got your attention, and that really kind of started you kind of down this path.
Yeah, I don't know if you all remember when a young lady had her 4 children in a car, and she walked out the car and jumped off the bridge while they was screaming and crying. And it's something unsurreal. You just sitting in your car in traffic and you just see, what? Did that just happen?
Yeah.
And then you try to dig deeper. You know how you have social media investigators. You try to dig deeper, try to see what was wrong. The root of the problem is that she was struggling with 4 children. I had 1. So having 4 and struggling financially, I know how my mental was declining. I could just imagine what she was going through. And it wasn't that she had a issue, mentally, was born with a psychological, no. She just felt defeated. She was defeated. And
couldn't fight it anymore.
She couldn't fight it anymore. She wasn't a bad person. It was just something that happened, and I always wanted to start a nonprofit. I said, I want to be the hero that I didn't have. I want to be the inspiration that I did not have. So that's when I said, in 2019, that's when I got my 501c3. And I just went full throttle with, starting the Allignment Chapter and making sure I had provided emergency essentials to single moms in need, because it alleviates that 30-day barrier of trying to buy diapers, wipes, cleaning products, the things that you need and spend $300 on a month. Those are necessities that we provide so we can alleviate that stress.
And if I read this right, you started actually giving things away at the bus stop. to other single moms.
Yes.
When you, I mean, and like you didn't all of a sudden come into a bunch of money.
Yeah.
You were still struggling yourself, and you were sharing these things for free with other single moms who were in need.
Yes. When remember back then, let's backpedal a little bit. When I started couponing, I was stockpiling items. I had laundry detergent, diapers, wipes, Pampers. Now, but people don't know, when you take your kid to daycare and when you have them home, you have to have 2 sets of diapers. A lot of moms can't figure that out, and they can't purchase double diapers, and feminine products. I remember I was thinking, am I going to buy pads or diapers? So remember, I thought that. So when I used to go to the bus stop, like I said, there was other moms there. So I was like, I have all of this stuff. I don't need all of this stuff out of the stockpile. So I would use like my recycled Giant Eagle bags and stuff and like fill them up. And I remember putting her in her harness, and it was cold. And I remember walking to the bus stop and saying, here you go. But the day before, I remember seeing those moms asking them what size diapers and pull-ups their kid needed. But I never said why. We just general conversation.
Just chit chat.
And when I showed up with the bags, like, they were so thankful. Like, you have no idea. I was literally trying to figure out how I was going to get $5 extra so I can buy me pads or, keep her with some wipes. I was just trying to figure it out. So I was doing that for years. Like, I've always gave back. I just never started my nonprofit. And when I seen that happen, I said, okay, it's go time. I still was working a job. I hate it. But I said, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do it. And I'm just going to let people know that we are here and I'm here to help.
Now, that's when I first met you.
Mm-hmm.
It was way back then. That was like 2017, I think. Because I started looking at it, I was like, you know what? You've been doing this for so long. Before you had any kind of actual formal, organization, before any of that, you've always been a giver.
Yep,
You've always been doing this.
Always.
I mean, you're a blessing to so many people.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And you had no formal training. You started this nonprofit just because something pulled at your heart.
Yep.
And that is so impressive that you had all these things going on in your life, but your mind, you were still looking to help others, to serve others. In spite of everything. I mean, you could have so easily been selfish in that moment. Said, I got to take care of me and my baby, right? But you didn't do that. You kept taking care of you and your baby and everybody else. Look for ways to do that. That's especially at such a young age, because, I mean, let's be honest, kids that age are selfish to begin with.
Right.
And when I think about how many, and I relate it to my own children and grandchildren, right? Most of them wouldn't have been able to do that. And they not the single mom thing, but putting others first in that moment, not bringing everything into I got to take care of me.
When you are unselfish, I was raised, I have a great grandmother. She just passed away in 2020. So I had a great grandmother, and she was very giving. And she would give to our entire family. When I mean, she would take our entire family to Six Flags. Our entire family, everybody at the Christmas party would get a gift. Everybody, nobody left without a gift. And I'm telling you, that's over 200 people. So my great grandmother always taught me that you can never go broke by giving. You can never lose anything by being nice.
God bless her.
You can't lose anything by telling somebody they look nice today. There's nothing you can lose by just being selfless. But when you're selfish and you don't think about others and you don't think about what you can do, the littlest thing you can do to make somebody's day, you're missing out on the world. Like, you can meet so many people out here and they can be like, straggler, on the street or anything, and you have a general conversation with them, you'll realize how unique they are.
Sure.
And ask them, what do you need help with? And just that little thing probably can change their life.
Absolutely.
And I always say that, if you could change somebody's mindset, you could save their life. That's my biggest thing, because I had to change my mindset in order to save my own life. And now I'm saving others just because I want the same thing. And it serves a purpose because it makes a better community. There's so much bad things going on out here now. We have to do something to change.
Right. Well, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, Pittsburgh's my favorite city in the world. I travel a lot for my job, but there's no place else I would rather live than in this area. But we have our issues like every other city does, right? And I saw that you're doing something with the homeless community now.
Yes. Heart of Hope.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh. Okay, so Heart of Hope Initiative, my fiance, he always loved to help the homeless. Like, that's his biggest thing.
Okay.
I don't know what it was, but matter of fact, he's a middle child of 12.
Mm.
So he
Wow, that
middle
is the
child of
middle.
12, yes. And it's so funny being around all of them in one house because it seems like there's that many. But he's a middle child of 12, and he always said, I want to help the homeless. I want to help the homeless. I want to help the homeless. And he's always gave back to the homeless all the time. He always taught the kids, like, always give them back. I don't care if they ask for a quarter, just give it to them, And when we rode around one day on the north side in downtown, and we just saw the homeless population growing.
Mm-hmm. It is growing. Unfortunately,
we literally, I had videos. My kids were making sandwiches in the kitchen, and they were so excited about it. And I let them go down with us. I let them talk to the homeless. I let them ask them questions and feed them. So that's our Heart of Hope initiative, is that we want to feed the homeless when they least expect it, on odd days when other organizations, they're not providing. When they get released from the shelters. Yes, so we did start the Heart of Hope initiative, and it's still going strong, and we love it. I think it's the funnest thing. And we're going to try to do some different things now to help the homeless, because we see now that it's growing in Pittsburgh rapidly. I've
very
never
much so.
seen it this bad in years.
Yeah. Yes. And now your organization is all volunteer?
All volunteer. Yes, my organization is all volunteer. Future, hopefully we can get a big enough budget where we can hire employees. That's my biggest goal. Being a nonprofit, especially an African American led nonprofit, we run into a lot of problems where we don't get approved for funding. So all of our funding is raised through our fundraising efforts. We have so many unique ideas we come up with to fundraise, to keep our doors open, to pay for essentials, to ship our boxes out, our warehouse space, So we are very unique when it comes to fundraising. Right now we're doing a crock fundraiser.
I saw that.
And we're creating the most beautifulest crocks in the world, and people love them.
Where did you come up with that idea?
I've always crafted. And then I had a couple of other friends who crafted as well. And we craft like professionally. Like we use a certain glue, a certain way we do it.
Nice.
And I said, we need to do this fundraiser. So we did it last year. It was a success. This year is much bigger. So we're doing a bigger success with the crock fundraiser because we have a big goal that we want to hit at the end of the year. And all of our fundraising efforts that we do are actually good hitters because we really sit down. Me and my board, we sit down, we talk and say, what is it that we could do different that everybody else is not doing?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to just wow people. And we want to give our donors, something to have from us. And know that when you purchase something, you can purchase a shirt, a pair of shoes, and it's not going anywhere, right? But you know that it's going to a mom in need. So we want to always give our donors something, and we're very transparent about everything that we do. I don't care. Like, it's us in a warehouse packing boxes and we're filthy and we're moving stuff around. We always want to show people like where their funding is going.
I gotta tell you, I'm not a fan of Crocs. I would wear these. These are so...
Everyone says that.
Yes. I mean, they don't even look like... They're like fashion. You could walk down a runway in these Crocs. They are amazing. And they have all different sizes. You have for kids, you have
kids, men, women. We just did a pair of Baltimore Ravens Crocs for a guy. Yep. We did a pair of Aaron Donald Crocs. Yeah. We do a lot of them. Yep. We do a lot of them.
They're so cool.
It's a big deal with kids now. I mean, it's more rare when you see a kid that's not wearing Crocs than when they are. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Now I saw also on your website something about Boots for Moms.
Oh yes, Boots for Moms Drive. Oh my gosh, I started that when I first started the Allignment Chapter because every year moms are recycling boots. They can't afford to buy themselves a nice pair of boots and their children and winter clothes, for themselves as well. Moms always come as a last priority.
Yes.
Our kids are first. So I wanted to start something to make a mother feel good and make her get a chance to get a brand new pair of boots for the winter, brand new coat, brand new, hat, scarf. So our Boots for Mom initiative is great. We do it every single fall and winter. And a mom can fill out an application and get a brand new pair of boots, hat, scarf, whatever she requests. We get a lot of people to donate brand new boots. And I always say brand new because a lot of times people get things that are used, and we want to make them feel like you deserve to be, appreciated as well. So make sure
Something little like that
Yeah.
is huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. That is really cool.
Yep. And just growing up where I grew up, going to secondhand stores, you always get something that's used. I always wanted something that was new. And when you give somebody something that's new and it's theirs, they cherish it and you hang on to it.
Oh yeah.
And I always wonder why people say some people are hoarders, but you don't understand sometimes when people come from poverty and you never had something and they have something that's yours, you want to hang on to it and cherish it and take care of it,
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So day to day, what does that look like for you?
Day to day is, I call myself and my volunteers psychologists. I did not go to school for psychology, and nor did when I signed up to do this, I had no idea that I would have to gain the mental strength to be everybody's mentor, everybody's life coach, to figure out how to handle different problems. We do have an entry survey, and a lot of moms say, I have thoughts of suicide. I've been neglecting my child. So we do a financially fit webinar that they must participate in. I don't ask them for anything. I just want you to increase your abundance. I want you to gain your knowledge in financial literacy. I want you to get a professional coach. I want you to learn different things that will help you change your mindset of what you're thinking right now. So on a day-to-day, it looks like answering emails, looking at our applications. We look at all of our applications. We have to review them to make sure that they are legit moms. Unfortunately, in this day in society, people are not very honest, especially since the pandemic. Everyone was getting everything they could.
It's really sad, to be honest.
It's very sad, but people have to be very wary that you have to set the boundaries in your organizations to know exactly who you're servicing. So we have to review every single application. We have to answer every single email, and then we have to ship out boxes as soon as we get them. Unfortunately, we can't do it as soon as we get them, but if we get it in that 24-hour period, we ship out the boxes, we label them, we make sure, okay, this is X, Y, and Z, size 4, size 5, this is household of 3. So that's kind of hectic, And some moms want to start the Boots for Moms early, so they'll say, can I get a pair of boots before the winter starts? Different things like that. And we also want to, I personally, myself, I like to call them. And I like to talk to them. I like to have that connection with them. Because you get a lot of organizations where people get help and they have no idea, like, okay, I just got help. I want to relate to them and help them understand that I see you as a person. You are a person. So when we do that and ship out our boxes and then fulfill our crop orders that come in and try to fill out grant applications and, strategize, that's how our day looks. And then I always end my day at 6 p.m. because I have to have time to be a mom too.
Right.
Yeah, so anybody, anywhere can fill out an application. As long as you're a single mom in need, we're going to ship it to you. I don't care where you're at. Like, if you're a mom and you say, I don't care if you say, I live over here in Las Vegas, I'm shipping you a box. There's no limit to who you can help.
Right. That's amazing. And yet you still have that personal touch and you call.
I call.
How's that even possible?
Well,
you've served several thousand women. I think the number I saw was over 3,000 women.
Yes.
And you call them.
I call them. It's called Apple Calendar. And then what you do is,
where did you come from?
Apple Calendar.
You're like amazing. Listen, there are. Listen, we are big supporters of the nonprofit community, and here we do that very well here in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh gives. That's something that we're known for. But most nonprofits hit limits. They have a ceiling, right?
I don't have one.
that's where I was going, and that says so much about you that you don't. When was the last time you ever said the word impossible?
Never.
Yeah.
Nothing's never impossible. It's only impossible if you put it in your head that it's not possible.
Right.
Like I said, my calendar. If I send an email out after they fill out application, I'll say, when is a good time to talk to you? Whatever day and time they put, okay, I put it on my calendar. And I allocate literally 2 hours a day to do that. It's really about how you dedicate your time. And people don't realize that there's 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
Everybody's time zones is different. So if
You're using them all.
and I'm using it. I'm using it. I've learned that. Remember, let's rewind back. When I was a mom, I had to learn early how to allocate my time. I would sometimes only get 4 hours sleep. So I've been working like this since I was 19. So I'm already operated to do that. It's the consistency.
That's how you're built.
When you're consistently doing something, it's not hard for you. But when you're not consistently doing that, it's going to kind of be difficult for you to get in that lane. And that's why a lot of people, you ever hear people say lanes? I'm not in that lane. I'm trying to get over there, but I'm not in it. It's going to be hard for you to navigate into that lane, but as long as you're training yourself to do it, you can do it. My day start every day at 4 o'clock. Every single day, my day starts at 4 o'clock. Because if I don't start at 4 o'clock, I'm going to be behind.
Right.
Like way behind.
You got a full schedule. There's a lot of moving parts that you're, and you know, you have volunteers, and that's wonderful. Anybody that will volunteer their time, to me, that's more valuable than writing a check.
Lifesavers. I call them lifesavers.
Yeah.
I love them. They are the best. Like,
That's awesome.
They are selfless.
That's fantastic.
Like, honestly, for somebody to take the time out their day to volunteer to do something to help somebody else, I appreciate it.
That's amazing.
Because you don't have
Absolutely.
to be helping me. Yeah. You could be doing anything. You could be bathing. You could be tanning. You could be getting your nails done. You could be doing anything. Watching a football game.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I love football. First of all, I'm a football fan. Like, I am the biggest football fan.
My name's Ray Lewis. You have to be.
Stop it.
Biggest football fan. I mean, I love football. So, you know, you can be doing anything, but you're helping. And that shows your character right there. So thank God for my volunteers. I don't know what I would do.
But you are making time for yourself, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have to make time for myself.
I love the fact
because you'll lose
said
yourself.
You stop
you
at
can
6
get lost.
o'clock.
I stop.
That's great.
I have to make time for
That's
myself.
self-care.
And I'm also an educator. You know, not just with moms, but with my own girls.
Sure.
You know, one thing that I was never raised on was that education on life. I'm teaching my daughters what I wasn't taught. Like, you know, I'm teaching my daughters, this is what you have to do to help other people. And this is what you have to do to manage your time. This is what you have to do, you know. And they're watching me and they're learning.
Great lessons.
And even when I do my motivational speaking, even when I do webinars and they listen, you would be funny how I caught them the other day imitating me. And they did it word for word, but their speak and their dialogue was so perfect. And, you know, even when they were talking to their friends, they were saying, what did my daughter say? Girl, you don't need to be worrying about that. There's too much time in a day. You should be doing this. We could be painting our nails, and then we could do this. This is how we should do it, you know? And I'm like, y'all have to pause a little bit. You know, be a kid. You know, I want you to understand life, but I also want you to be a kid.
Right.
Mommy does this is because how mommy has to, you know, maintain and still be mommy and still be glamorous. You know, I have to be glamorous now.
Absolutely.
There's certain times where I look crazy. You know, I said the other day, I looked like Dawn King when I was in a warehouse. And I said, excuse me, y'all, this is just like this was a rough week. We just got to get this done, you know, and everybody's just it's like family.
So now, is this a normal morning look for you?
Sometimes,
Sometimes.
I like to look glamorous. I always say that. I like to look glamorous. It's a normal morning for me. But a lot of my normal is casual. Like, I like a lot of sweatshirts.
There you go.
I like sweatpants.
There you go.
I like to be relaxed. Jeans is my favorite thing. I wear jeans and tennis shoes very, very quickly. But I like to be glamorous because, again, I'm raising girls. I want to show them that my grandmother always told me, when you leave the house, look your best. You never know who you're going to run into.
It's true story.
Yeah.
True story.
I learned that lesson the hard way, but now I know, and now they know. When I leave, I'm going to look my best.
There you go. And your girls are 14 and 10 now.
14.
And those are ages where, especially 14.
That's tough.
14's an age when
is tough.
It's when you're learning different personalities in your house.
Right.
And one thing that I always tell parents, even in our webinars, is do not expect you out of your children.
There you go.
You might be raising
It's
somebody
powerful right there.
you don't like. You never meet people and be like, I don't like those type of people. You might be raising that type of person in your house. So you're going to have to learn how to navigate around that type of person. And especially with females, you have to understand their different personalities. And you have to help them cope together in this environment that we're living in, you know.
Sure.
So it is tough raising girls, but it's a learning lesson for me as a mom. I'm still learning as a parent. I'm not
Absolutely.
the best parent by far.
That never ends.
We all make mistakes as parents and we're like, don't never talk about that again. You know, we learn. So
Absolutely.
it's a learning curve, and you have to let your children learn as they grow. Learn from your mistakes, grow from them.
Yeah, because you want them to be individuals. You know, you will always love your children, but you're not always going to like them.
No.
You know, and that's that doesn't make you a bad
It doesn't
person.
make you a bad person.
No,
You
not
are
at all.
human. Listen, we're human. We have feelings. I think that's what
Right.
people have to understand. You are a man first, you are a woman first, and then you are a parent second. You have feelings and emotions, and it's okay to feel that. When you suppress that, that's when you start to have self-issues.
You're absolutely right.
Let you feel how you feel, express how you feel, and explain. Always explain to your children, okay, this is why this is happening. So they have an understanding. Because a lot of people do things and don't explain it, and then they be like, well, why is my kid you didn't explain why you did that? Now I'm explaining this, and now you know.
Right. Right. No, that's very true.
Mhm.
That is very true. And girls are tougher than boys. I mean, girls
Very tough.
are. Ooh, listen.
They
that's,
argue if she say the sky is yellow and she say it's blue, it's a big issue. I mean, it is a drag out big issue, and I'm like, are you guys serious right now? Y'all was just arguing about the color of the wall. Now you're arguing about the sky. Separate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
don't know if I had to. I don't know. My daughter just turned 18,
Oh, okay.
and
it's
yeah,
it's crazy.
It's
few
a madhouse.
years in there. I tell you, it was tough.
Oh, yeah?
It was tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a madhouse.
But same thing. I mean, you tell them one thing, and they're like, "No, the sky is not blue. It
Yeah.
is purple."
If that's
So-
what you believe,
Mhm.
that's fine.
There are times where you have to pick your battles,
Pick 'em.
and it is not worth some of them. So you just let it go.
Just let it go and just let them be who they are uniquely.
Mhm.
I learned that about my youngest daughter. She's very tomboyish.
Mhm.
I was tomboyish at that age,
So
but
was
she's
I.
extremely tomboyish. And I said, this is different for me. You know, being a mom, being a girly girl. I mean, I played rugby and baseball and stuff like that. So, you know, I understand where she's coming from with the tomboyish thing. I mean, she is girly. Like, she likes to paint her nails. She loves the color pink. Like, you know, little things like that. But my oldest is the total opposite. She's a straight Barbie. You know, that's just her. She don't want to get dirty and stuff like that. And I had to learn with my youngest is that she's very introverted. She's not very, I want to be outside all the time. She do want to be outside, but alone. Like, you know,
Sure.
different things you have to learn about your kids.
Yep.
And you have to accept them for who they are. And I think
Right.
in today's society, I think people really have to learn that your kids are not going to be who you want them to be. Just
Yeah.
allow them to just learn.
That's true. You got to let them be who they're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's not always going to be in alignment with you.
Nope.
You know,
And
with what you want.
that's where I came up with the alignment.
I was going to ask. That was my next question.
Yeah, I was not aligned with my purpose. I swear I wasn't. I was just working to make money and thinking this was it. This was my job. This is it. I was not aligned. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is it right here. I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be motivating people. I'm supposed to be making an impact. I'm supposed to be being a mom. I'm supposed to be doing this. And a lot of times we are not aligned with what we want to do. We're just working to get back.
Because we try to force ourselves into something.
Yes.
You know, there's your path and God's path.
Yeah.
You found God's path, and that put you in alignment with all of it.
Yep, and that's why alignment is spelled with 2 L's, because it's all women aligned with their purpose.
Nice.
So that's why I spelled
Nice.
with 2 L's, because it's all women aligned. Like, everybody should be aligned with exactly they want to do. You'll be more happier. You ever wake up? I remember I used to wake up and cry. I remember talking to daughter about this. Like, remember I used to cry going to work. Like, I don't want to go here. I used to cry, like, bawl my eyes out crying. And, you know, I don't wake up, like, crying, you know, like that anymore. You know,
Well,
I
that's
wake
good.
up happy. I wake up being happy that I could drop my kids off at school and pick them up and do things that I wouldn't be able to do if I'd be like, oh gosh, if I call up and make it a point, you know, or there's going to be an attack against me, or I have to miss this, I have to sacrifice this, you know. I don't have to do that anymore. And I want people to say, you know, it's okay if you do have to do that, because if you love your career, you love your career. I know somebody who loves human resources. I know somebody who loves accounting. That's great.
Absolutely.
Be happy doing it, but make sure you're
Absolutely.
happy in that environment. Don't be afraid to move.
Right.
You know how people are afraid to just
Yep.
move
So they
because you're
settle,
comfortable.
yeah, and then they find they try to rationalize and justify it to themselves in their mind, and
There's
then
a lot of regret there.
yeah,
Move.
absolutely.
You have so
I'm a
many years to
Proponent of
live.
that.
I
Yes,
wish I would have moved so long ago, like, and not been afraid
right.
to just move. Like, I want to do this. Let me just do it. I was always in fear. If you break your fear boundary and just do what you want, you'll see how different life will turn.
Fear is so paralyzing for so many people.
Yes, it will cripple you.
Yep, absolutely.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you've done so much in so little time.
Yeah, very
Where
little.
do you see this going for you in the next couple of years?
Yeah, what's next?
Where do you want it to go?
I wanted to go to 51 states, and I also want to open up in 3 other states a main location. Like, our main location's here in Pittsburgh, but I also want to have physical buildings in 3 different states. Physical buildings in 3 different states.
Yeah,
No.
those states. Do you know what states?
Yeah, I know what states. I want to be in New York. I want to be in Alabama. I want to be here in Pittsburgh, and I also want to be in what did I say? Was it Nevada or was it Utah? It was one of those 2 locations.
Why
That's what I
those
wanted.
states?
Far West Coast.
Mhm.
Far West Coast because the homeless population, and I see where the numbers and low income, where the need is.
Sure.
I always look out where the need is. If you look at Skid Row, oh my gosh, but it's like that a lot on the West Coast, and people don't know that.
Oh,
In
Yeah,
certain
that's-
cities,
That's
The-
not in the tourist
no,
promotions.
No,
they,
no.
they gloss over
they
that.
gloss over that.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Philadelphia right now.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why Pennsylvania, I'm gonna stay Pennsylvania. New York, that's
Okay.
another
Sure.
area they gloss over. All of these areas, Alabama, it's really bad down there, and they gloss over that. And I want to be in areas where I see the need is.
Sure.
And I also want to open up homeless shelters for mothers who have more than 2 children. What people don't realize is a lot of homeless shelters separate the mom from the kids if
Really?
they have 7 children, 5 children, 6 children. You can't come if you have that many, or you have to send them to a children's shelter. I want to open up a shelter where moms are welcome if you have 5, 7,
Sure.
8 children, so you're not separated. I want to open up shelters like
That's
that. in
important
states.
because you can't do that.
But it overwhelms, so they don't want to take.
So I
Right.
see it bigger, and I see bigger budget. That means bigger work. Like, I have to work so hard, and I don't just say we, because I have a whole team of ambassadors and lifesavers. We have to work
Sure.
hard so we can do that. Like, that's my dream. Like, and I said that, I remember saying, remember how someone will pull up and it'll be like, oh, that's that car, or what show was that when someone pull up and everybody scream like, ah? I wanted to have this big pink box truck, but I wanted to be sparkly. And when we pull up in these low income communities, I want them to be like, oh my gosh, they're here.
That's
Like,
the girly girl.
yeah.
Sparkly pink
The
box
sparkly
truck.
pink box truck.
That is very cool.
That's not hard. That's the Allignment Chapter. They're here.
Yeah.
They're coming to save
Yeah.
us. Like, they're here, they're here, they're here. Like, that's what I wanted to do in different states. So
Okay.
that's my biggest, that's
That's
my biggest
amazing.
dream right
That is
there.
amazing. Your journey is a movie. You realize that, or at least a Netflix series or something.
I'm trying to
You-
see if Tyler Perry can write my story. You know how people write a book?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I said, I would love to get somebody to act out my life story.
Listen, that's legit. I mean, when I'm sitting here listening to you and learning more about it, I mean, and I looked, I Googled you and I saw, the Ellen thing and all that pops up, and we can talk about that in a second. But at the end of the day, you have such a powerful story because you just did it. You just did it, girl. You were given some news that I guarantee you weren't ready for.
No.
Okay, but you didn't you just said, okay, I got this.
No.
Here's where I'm going.
Especially
kept
not
going.
with the person that I was with at the time. I was in a very abusive relationship because I had no idea about relationships.
Yeah.
And you as a woman, like, people don't understand mental and emotional and physical abuse. Like, you don't know how to get away from it.
Sure.
But me, the type of person that I am, a lot of people say they love that about me. When I'm done with something, I'm done with it. I move on. It never happened. Not even never happened, but I've grown from it.
Sure.
And being in an abusive relationship, being a new mom, having this baby, and moving and not, thinking twice about my future. I just always wanted more. it's something that you have to have within yourself to know that you have the possibility, because nothing's impossible. Like you said before, I always think it's nothing impossible. I can just do it, whatever. You know, that's just always been my attitude. So my life story is something that I always want to tell, and I'm going to tell it, and people are going to be like, wow, that's crazy.
Now you got to add financial abuse to that too.
Financial abuse, financial abuse, you got to add that to there too, because
so many women get stuck in a relationship because they financially
can't move.
Right.
You know, and not even that, just going through things while you are on your way to being successful. You know, we've talked this whole time about me growing into the Allignment Chapter, you know, and you mentioned Ellen, being on Ellen and things like that. But what people didn't realize,
how did that happen? Did you have to apply for something, or did?
No, I don't know. They found me on social media.
Is that right?
And I thought that I was going to be talking to Jenny. You know, the Jenny, the one that goes to the houses and say surprise. I thought I was going to talk to her, because remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We can't see anybody.
Yeah.
And when Ellen popped up, I lost my mind.
What better way for us to celebrate Mother's Day than to surprise an incredible mom of two from Pittsburgh who has spent the entire pandemic delivering supplies and hope to single moms in need. Her name is Ray Nell, and she thinks she's about to speak with Jeannie, but I'm going to surprise her instead. Let's do it now. Ray Nell? What are you doing there?
Because I like giving, so I always grew up watching Ellen and Oprah
Sure.
all the time, and I always say I'm the mini Oprah because I'm gonna be the next Oprah. So I always say I'm like a mini Oprah. And when I seen Ellen, I lost it. You know, I'm very authentic. I like blew my top when I seen her. And then when she blessed me with a new vehicle, like I said, coming from poverty, I've never like owned anything in my life. So to own something that was mine and to continue to help people, that was something that was, I'll never forget. But what people don't realize is during that time, you know, being on Ellen, I was on the Essence Festival that year. All of this happened so quickly. Remember, the pandemic happened right after I started my nonprofit. So I had to become mom, worker, business owner. All right, I gotta do this. I gotta get this. I have to do this. It all happened that fast. So I lost my entire intermediate family that year. Like literally, just everybody. Like behind the scenes. Like from my grandma, my great grandma, my grandpa, my mom moved away, my brother. Like everything just went and nobody could tell. It's just people don't talk about what happens behind the scenes.
Sure.
That motivated me to just keep going. Because I'm like, there's a purpose behind this. There's a reason behind this. I'm doing what I love, but at the same time, behind the scenes, I'm losing people that I love. But it built you to be a stronger person.
Right.
You ever hear people say God never gives you your blessing until he sees what you can endure first.
Right.
And absolutely. I felt like he was like, let me see if you can handle what I'm going to give you. And when he saw I could handle it, he was like, okay, I'm just going to give it to you.
Now we're just going to take
Now we're just going to take off.
No, and that's a very true statement. I believe everything happens for a reason. I don't believe in coincidence. Nothing happens by accident. You know, you were meant to go through what you experienced. Okay, because that all in total made this person, created this person sitting right here.
Absolutely. And I love her. I love me. I love her so much. I say that every day. Like, I just love me. Because I think back, like, how did I do this? And, you know, I was just talking to Don. I said, babe, how did I do this? And he said, well, why don't you ask my mom? She raised 12 kids. I said, she is mighty. 12 of you all?
Don't get too proud of yourself because she did 12.
He said, now, hold on now. She had 6 girls and 6 boys. You asked her how she did it. And I'm complaining about 2 girls?
Yeah. That's, you know, God bless her. I would love to meet her. Because that is, you know.
I don't know. She'd put you in your place, I guarantee.
You know what? I do a Black Her story. And I'm going to interview her one day.
Absolutely, you should.
And I always tell her, like, Miss P, I'm going to interview you because you are to raise 12 children alone.
Listen.
I was always so curious. Like, I would ask the questions like, well, how did you do this? How did you do that? How did you have all this food? How did you clothe all these kids? Like, what is it that you did? Because me, with one, like, I wanted to know what you did, and listening to her story, she has a very powerful, interesting story.
12 alone.
Well, alone. She did
That's
it.
a football team.
Definitely.
You know, and to do that by yourself.
Not that, they were stair steps. Back to back to back to back to back. So she had all these kids in diapers. I'm like, I was so fascinated by and
That is fascinating. I mean, that's I want to get her on the show because I'm serious. I would love to meet her and talk to her because that's climbing a mountain that you can't see the top, right? I mean, that's crazy.
Her story is very fascinating. I said she is phenomenal. Like, I tell it, and she raised good boys. You know, like I tell Donna, like, you are. When I met him, he had a son, and I have a daughter, so he's my bonus son. And when I met him, and we came together, I always thought he was so unique. I said, I think you're too perfect. You ever meet somebody like there's something around you? But no, he's total opposite of me. He's very introverted, very quiet, does his man thing, whatever. But he also has a good heart, and he also, owns his own contracting company. He does things.
Sure.
You need that balance.
Yeah, we need that balance. And me, I'm outgoing. I like talking to people. I love doing this. And then he's very settled. So she raised a good kid, and I always say that. But I said, is this because you're the middle child? Like, you're a middle child. But she's a very unique woman.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And when you
so much
see
respect for that.
She's my size.
Really?
She's like, what, 5'4"? You would think she has 12 kids.
Wow. That's crazy. That is just crazy. God bless her. I mean, please tell her that. I have so much respect for her. I would love to meet her. Because that is the most. Listen, I'm one of those guys that believes that being a mom is the most important job there is.
It is.
Okay, I believe that because I know that adults who had strong mothers, strong females in their lives as children are much more balanced and well-rounded adults.
Yeah.
That's something that I've always, and I know that. I mean, from personal experience as well. With my own kids and my grandkids.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to have that positive role.
And who our role model was, our matriarch, my grandma Luella. She was the oldest of 7, born into slavery, Bessemer, Alabama, and she raised us all to be phenomenal people. She was just like the matriarch. My grandfather, of course, was like the father to everybody in the family. When I say everybody, he was like the father to everybody in the family. So to have those positive role models and to tell you, things like my grandfather taught me everything I know. Like a lot of people say, you have the man of a man. And I say the man of a man because my grandfather taught me everything I know. Like, he taught me how to drive. He taught me how to fix stuff. He taught me about life, people, how to read people, how to fight, how to do so many things. And I was just watching a home movie last night while I was doing a period of Crocs. I was watching a home movie. And I was laughing because he was teaching me something. And I was like, here it goes, always. So having those positive people in your life to lead you, they might not think they're leaders, but to you, like, there's someone amazing. Like, I always looked at that.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes the most important mentors in our lives, they don't even realize that they've been mentoring.
They don't.
Right? I have one with Marvin. I met a gentleman, Marvin Williams, 20 some odd years ago. Okay. Did the same thing I did. We brought him in the company I was with. And they said, you're going to be working with Marvin. He's a consultant, blah, blah, blah. And literally taught me everything I know about my job. In the last 20 years, every success I've had came from watching how he carried himself, conducted his business and carried himself. And I said to him just not too long ago that, he's maybe one of the most important mentors I've ever had professionally. And he said, what are you talking about? We've never had a conversation about that. I said, I don't know. I just been paying attention. Yeah. So I mean, and that was it was such a cool moment because he He said, you know, you don't realize the impact you can have on people
Yeah.
just by the way you carry yourself.
And I believe in that. And I'm going to mention this. Linda Williams Moore, she was my old boss, right? And she was a strong-headed woman. And she held, she was the Associate Dean of Pittsburgh, right?
Okay.
University of Pittsburgh, right? And she taught me business etiquette, you know.
Okay.
She was a very strong mentor. She
Mhm.
doesn't realize it. And I
Right.
tell her this all
Right.
the time, like, you don't realize how much of a mentor you are. I mean, because I had no business etiquette. And then she'll close the door and get me together like, you're not going to say that. This is what you're going to do. You're going to do it like this. And when you reply, you make sure
Right.
you say it like that. And she would give me tough love. Like, she was my boss, but she would give me tough love, like, get your act together. This is what you're going to do.
She gave you what you needed.
She gave me what I needed.
Yeah.
I was sometimes if I'm crying, she'd be like, wipe those tears.
Mhm.
It's time to work. Let's do this. Like, she's very much of a mentor. And I always say Linda was my business mentor because I had no business etiquette. And she would say, this is not how you respond to an email. I can feel your rage in this email. I understand you're upset.
She sent me an email yesterday. I called her. I said, "Are you mad at me for sure? Are you angry? What the heck happened?"
She said, I can feel your rage. And she said, then you had the nerve to CC me, your boss. She said, Ray, let me tell you, don't you ever do that again.
Don't ever do it
You ever do that again. And you make sure you reply. You know, she taught me that. So when as me growing in the business, I've realized certain things. I think of Linda like, okay, Linda, I'm not going to say this. No, okay, Linda. I said, okay, Linda. But Linda Williams Moore is definitely a big mentor, man.
There you go.
She was.
There you go.
All right, so I had been telling him for a long time how fantastic you are.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True story. True story.
So we're going through this and talking about mentors. So
Mhm.
one of our tagline is live, love, learn, pray, inspire.
Mhm.
So we like to end all of our podcasts with asking our guest, of those 5, can you give our audience a piece of advice from one of those? Which one speaks to you?
Learn from your mistakes. Live every day like it's your last. Love on everybody around you. Your kids, your family. To tomorrow's not promised. Laugh any chance you get. Happiness is your sanity. And inspire anybody you come across.
Sure.
Inspire anybody you come across, and make sure when you wake up every day, the first thing you do is have a conversation and a relationship with your higher power, because you have to have
Right.
some type
Absolutely.
of relationship in order to navigate through life.
Absolutely.
Without that relationship, you have nothing, you know. So always pray for better days, even if on your rough days. Don't only pray when it's rough. Pray all the time. every
All
single
the
day.
time.
I prayed on the way here.
Good days and bad days.
Pray it on the way here, because you know you never know what can happen during your day. Live your life, y'all. Don't be afraid to move. Learn from your mistakes. You're going to fail big. I failed many a times. I dropped out of college 4 times. You know, you fail in life, but you grow. You know,
Failure's part of success.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well,
That's
thank
awesome.
you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Kelly.
Absolutely. Thank
So
you. This
nice
has been
talk.
wonderful.
Thank
Been wonderful.
you. This
Yes.
is amazing. I enjoyed it.
Yes. Good luck with
Yeah,
everything
thanks,
you do,
man.
and
That's
we're
great.
always here for you.
Thank you, Kelly. Nice
Thank
to meet
you.
you in person.
I know, right?
Social media, but
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on and telling your story. And it's, I mean, you know, what we'd like to bring you back again. You see, when all those things